giving more rotation on, you cannot just pull the racket, allow the drop to happen, and then adding the right hand here, take the balls from the left pocket. So what happens? The ball comes here, feeling that loose wrist, the drop, like your sword that you pull out from, and then you have the drop. Hi everyone, my name is Milan from Serbia. I'm founder of TENFITMEN. I'm a professional tennis player and coach. So flat and so inconsistent. Is it familiar? The biggest challenge here on the two-handed backhand is to get that top spin. What's up guys? Welcome back to another TENFITMEN video. Today I'm gonna talk about two-handed backhand and how to generate more top spin, right? How to solve that mystery of giving more rotation on that two-hander, because most of the players, at least on the club level and the amateurs, even advanced, struggle with this shot, especially in terms of the spin. A lot of times this shot is kind of flat. Let's solve this mystery and let's get into it now. I'm gonna share a few things with you today that should and will help you to get more spin on that two-handed backhand. So start with the number one thing here, understanding the main problem and then being aware of that, right? So the main problem is that swinging directly towards the ball, whatever is the swing, whereas we need to be aware and we need to understand that the racket head has to go first down slightly before we do that swing, right? It has to go down first and then the swing should happen. So the first thing is to understand that, right? Before we do anything. We cannot just pull the racket, we have to allow the drop to happen and then here. How to do that, how to practice that. That's gonna be the second thing today. The tip here is practicing the non-dominant arm forehand. In my case, the left hand. Left-handed forehand, right? So you can first understand the mechanics, just like turning there and then again getting the drop and then pulling here, right? And then I suggest doing a lot of shadow swings to get the timing. Notice how I still use my body, the legs. This arm now, it's not that important, but you can still get the turn right here. But we work on the wrist, right? Feeling that the loose wrist, the drop. But then when you pull, of course, the wrist becomes a bit more firm because you need impact, good control here. Bam, right? You should hit some balls, right? Usually don't. Take the balls from the left pocket with this, so weird. You can have a friend or a coach feed you some balls, or you can do self-feeding, also fine. Bam. And work on that rushing action. Generating the spin on the ball so you can look at the ball and make sure it spins forward. The next number three today, the tip here is again starting with that the left hand and then just adding the right, but you're still being focused on the left. So basically you're doing the forehand here with the drop and then just adding the right hand here in the spot just to kind of get familiar with the movement, right? And you still do the left hand. Still is the left hand here. Add the right and I still swing basically with the left. I don't almost hold the racket. You can basically just have this one around this. We just need to feel the body. Your brain has to kind of receive this information. You create this, the muscle memory, but in terms of the path, right? Because this is the difficult part of the two-handed backhand. Tried to explain this a few times. It's very interesting actually, right? Because we have two arms. So for a lot of players, me myself included, the left hand feels good, natural. One hand feels, here, also natural. When you put both, it just feels a bit awkward, right? So by doing this, you're gonna get more familiar with that. But again, we're not controlling, we're not using this one to guide the racket. So that's important in this step. It's the left. This one is just around the racket. Feel this. And then of course, you try to hit few balls with the same thinking, right? I'm gonna still focus on the left, and then the next step, the number 4, is a good concept that can help you to kind of understand the swing path, how we can use that drop to create more spin. You imagine that you have your racket when it drops here, that you have it kind of down in the pocket, or it's like a sword. You want to make sure before you kind of go and hit the ball, that racket becomes like your sword that you pull out from the pocket here. Boom. But the key is to do that in the last moment, right? You don't want to do and then here, because then you lost the momentum. So you want to find that right point in time where you're gonna get your racket in the right place and then just put it out, right? So it's like bam, here, sword up. And again, the sword goes out by pulling more here, bam, pulling with the left, right? Boom. The number 5 tip today, this is also to understand the position of the contact point and also the swing. And this is crucial for playing all around the court and not just hitting the ideal shots, right? Some players tend to have, or even the coaches, like to learn to hit the spin with having the racket low first. So you start here and then you do this part. But in my opinion, it creates the habit of that racket being there, right? So I would always do all the exercises with the racket having that leverage position first and then trying to reach that position, right? You don't want to create bad habits. Some might argue that you can still have the swing low, and there are some examples in the Pro Tour. Yes, you can do that, but it's really, really difficult because a lot of shots, a lot of balls, you're going to have high ball. So what happens? The ball comes here above my shoulders and I start the swing here. It's going to be way more difficult than going from here, right? For this reason, you can try this as an exercise maybe a few times, but I would not do this on a regular basis. Rather, always do the repetition, do it with the correct position here. And then on top of that, dealing with these balls, you should always have good leverage, an even higher swing, adjust, and then you have the drop. Then you imagine you do the forehand and you do again same swing here. So higher ball, away, bam. So to do the quick recap for today, how to get more spin on two-handed backhand and how to practice that. Number 1 was understanding that there is no pulling before the drop, right? Bam. So you have to drop, pull. Number 1. Number 2, practice a lot. Non-dominant arm here, in my case left. The shadow swings with the correct drop and timing. The pulling action, you can also hit some balls. Number 3 is doing the same with adding this just to kind of follow the movement, right? And also getting comfortable with that, allowing your muscles, the memory to be created. Number 4, the concept of the sword. But again, after you get the turn and then you kind of go into the sword or the pocket and then you pull out the sword, right? The concept of kind of getting upwards, bam. And number 5, the idea that this kind of practice, starting from there, it's okay just for maybe a few reps. You want to always train with the racket up because most of the shots will also be high. So you want to have something that makes sense, right? So even if it's a low ball, I can start high and I can use the drop. High ball, I can go here, drop. And I can add on top of all this, the bonus I would say, and this can be also maybe the unlock for a lot of you, get loose in your wrist. So you can do this exercise just like spinning the racket like this before you practice the backhands, because another issue is like having a stiff grip here and then just like a baseball, right? So very loose and then allowing the drop. So here, of course loose, but when I go and hit, when I pull, I have to have firm wrist so I can have control here, that it doesn't open, right? So it's boom. All together, when you practice, hopefully you get something like this. That was it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it and it was useful. That's my mission here, to help you understand and solve some problems on the court. Hope it works for you. If yes, smash that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of new videos coming up, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to write it down in the comments. And you can find all the links for different platforms that we share the content below in the description. That's it. Go out there, practice, have fun, commit to the process, enjoy the progress, right? And then create that topspin, because it's gonna allow you to play on a next level. You're gonna become a much better player. I'll see you soon in our next video.